There's something that I like to call the Anastasia effect. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Anastasia. It's a Disney movie from quite some time ago. You can Google it and look it up, but it's a good movie to watch. One thing that I like about the movie is the principle that it displays. You know, Jesus taught in parables. He knew we understood things better with pictures and with imagery and with relatable stories so that we can come into and stumble upon the truth that he was trying to express. And I appreciate that about Anastasia because it gives us a wonderful picture of what the Christian life or the Christ-like life can be for us. So in this movie, there's a young girl named Anastasia, and she doesn't know it, but as a child, she became separated from her family because of a war that took place, but her family was Russian royalty. She was actually royalty, but she was separated from them, and she could not remember who she was. So she was raised in an orphanage as a parentless orphan, poor child. She was raised in this orphanage, and so her thinking and the framework for the way that she viewed herself and viewed life was constructed around the idea that she was an orphan, she was poor, and she was abandoned. Well, there were two men, one of them named Dmitri, and they were working a scam because Anastasia's grandmother was looking, obviously she was looking for her long-lost granddaughter, and she was offering a great reward for whoever could bring her granddaughter to her. And so Dmitri and his partner devised a plan that they would train a young woman how to behave like royalty, how to act like royalty, how to pretend to be something that they weren't, so that they could present her to the queen and be awarded this large sum of money. And they found Anastasia. And Dmitri noticed that there was a striking resemblance, but he didn't really realize that she actually was the granddaughter. So they trained her. They showed her how to walk. They showed her how to wear her clothes. They showed her how to talk. And it was a struggle for her because all her life she had lived as an orphan. All her life she viewed herself as someone that was less than, that had to fight, that had to struggle, that had to hustle just to get by. So she viewed herself as starting from a disadvantage. But she did learn these ways. She did learn how to carry herself, and she did learn how to pretend or present herself as something and someone that she thought she was not. Obviously, by the end of the movie, Anastasia comes to realize that she actually really is royalty, that she really is the long-lost granddaughter that they had been looking for so long. And in the movie, you can see how beautifully she adjusts. It was like an immediate thing that happened in her. Once she realized her identity, once she realized who she was, she no longer was trying to pretend. She no longer felt like she was putting on a show because she felt justified within herself for behaving like royalty since she realized that she actually was. And that's something that happens in our lives. If we start out thinking that we are, poor orphan, just a sinner trying to do good, trying to be right, trying to live a good Christian life, and we're starting from this deficit, it's almost as though we are pretending or striving or trying to become something that we really don't believe that we are. But once we come into the truth of what God has said about us, that we actually are his children, we actually are his beloved members of his household, citizens of his kingdom, then we realize that we are not living in a way that is pretentious or pretending, but we're actually living out our true identity. There's something interesting about that movie, though. There always has to be a villain, a bad guy in a movie. And so in this movie, the bad guy knew that Anastasia really was the granddaughter. He knew that she actually truly was royalty. So he did everything in his power to stop her from getting to the grandmother, to stop her from getting to the palace and coming into the awareness of who she was. He derailed the trains. He tried to trick her and draw her away, even to cause her to jump off the edge of a boat, trying to get her to end her own life. He did everything that was in his power to stop her. Why? Because he could not change who she was. All he could do was try to keep her from realizing who she was. And we all know that there's an enemy that wants to keep us from identifying with ourselves in Christ, from seeing who we are and who God says that we are, because he really can't stop us. All he can try to do is put hindrances and blockages in our way, or even try to deceive or to tempt us to live less than what our Father has really called us to and what he really has already created on the inside. And so we too realize that there is a struggle and there is a fight. But once we realize, wait, that enemy has no power over me, I'm not going to continue to believe the lies that I'm on the outside and I'm struggling and I'm trying to attain and be something that I'm really not. No, I accept what God says about me, that I actually already am. I already am in Christ. I already am accepted. I already am his righteousness. And then I can live out that true royal life from a place of genuineness, knowing that it's my true identity, who I really am, and not something that I'm pretending to be. The Anastasia effect. The Anastasia effect. We're not pretending and trying to become something that we're not. You already are. If you haven't watched the movie, I encourage you to take a look at it. It's a fun little Disney movie. There is a bad guy. He might be a little scary for your little ones, but take a look at it first and see if it's something that you want to share with them. But let that parable or let that story become something that brings life and brings the awareness of truth in our own life based on what she went through with the Anastasia effect. Be who you already are.